Rev up your engines!
Well, you think you had a bad day? Sam Bankman-Fried? He lost $14.6 billion overnight. His personal wealth went down 94% overnight. But it just goes to show these people in cryptocurrency, for you young people that don't understand economics, cryptocurrency does not exist. It has no basis in reality. So in this case, there goes $14.6 billion overnight. Whoop, it's gone. It's a fantasy idea. Sucker people into investing. Crap hits the fan. Oh well. But people really don't understand this. Unless you're one of the big boys, you shouldn't mess with cryptocurrency. You're just at the whim of these people. If you can lose that kind of money, $16.4 billion overnight, you're a little pittance, even if it's only, $20,000, it's going to go away pretty fast too. Now the company that he ran was called FTX, right? And they'd say, oh, it's a good cryptocurrency company, blah, blah, blah. Don't ever believe the crap you read about these things. They're not based in reality. They're just mathematical concepts. And it's fine if you're a mathematician, you like playing around with computers. But after all, it's not real. There is no basis of anything in these cryptocurrencies. And the people that invest money in them, hey, I feel sorry for them. They lose their money. And of course, what does it come down to? Greed. They just think, oh, it's going to keep going up. It's going to keep going up. It's greed. And you know what happens when people are greedy? Generally, they get their comeuppance at some point in time. Well, I can't help but laugh at this, but it's a serious matter. There's a social influencer out there going by the name of Ray Hushpuppy, who was bragging how rich he was, took pictures of himself in his airplane and everything, flying around, right? So as soon as I saw this thing, I thought, oh no, don't tell me. The guy's one of those Nigerian scam artists, and lo and behold, he was. He just got 11 years for money laundering. The picture of him in his airplane, reading Forbes magazine, like the big businessman. At one point, I have to laugh at it, but the other point is, it's kind of a sad situation of the world. Everybody says, oh, those Nigerian scam artists, right? I had friends and customers in Houston when I lived there that were from Nigeria, right? Really nice people. And I just honestly said, how come there's all these scams coming out of Nigeria? And they explained to me, and it made total sense. They said, look, Nigeria is full of some very intelligent people. Unfortunately, there are very few opportunities in Nigeria. So they got all these people that have brains, but they have no opportunities. So they go into the scam business and they make money that way. I actually watched an entire program, and it was about the Indian scammers in India that are calling American older people, trying to get their credit card numbers, social security numbers, all the information so they can steal money from the elderly people. And the one guy who was in the show, he had made millions doing it. And I asked him, they said, why are you doing this? And he says, well, I'd like to do it honestly, but this is all I'm able to do here in India is scam people. And he ran a whole company that had all the people on the phones calling Americans trying to scam money out of them. The problem is, if you have, in the case of India, Nigeria, probably millions of highly intelligent people who have no opportunity, what can they do? So they end up scamming people for a living. It's a sad state of how our world is. I mean, you come closer to home in the United States, there's a big drug epidemic here. The problem is lack of opportunity for these people. They don't have opportunity. There's not opportunity for these people to get good jobs, to get training, to do something that's worthwhile. And so then you end up turning into drug addicts. Well, in this case, these people didn't turn into drug addicts, they turned into scam artists. And there's lots of them out there, It's unfortunate, but they have no opportunity, but they have brains. This Ray Hushpuppy guy, that's just his online name. I'm sure he's a very intelligent guy. He scammed all these people out of all kinds of money. He scammed law firms out of $1 million. I mean, the guy obviously has brains. There's no arguing that. But all the societies need to have more opportunities for people so they don't have to pull this crap and they could do something good. If the guy's smart enough to do that, you think he'd be smart enough to do it in a legitimate framework, and he wouldn't be spending 11 years in jail for scamming all these people out of money. On the other hand, when there's so many intelligent people, what can you do with it? I read the other day how many engineers graduate every year in China. For example, in 2020 in China, 1.1 million engineers graduated from university. That's a lot of engineers. What are you going to do with all these people, I got friends in China, and they said, hey, we got friends that have engineering degrees. They're working in McDonald's, It's sad but true. If there's no opportunity for the people, what are they going to do? And if people are that smart, they're going to get on the internet and they're going to start scamming people because they can do it. Because there's no opportunities where they are. People need to build up more opportunities. There'd be less scamming because these aren't stupid people. They got brains. Not enough computer jobs in Nigeria that are legitimate, so you get all these scammers coming out of the woodwork. Look at the Chinese, 1.1 million engineers graduate every year. And that's every year. So, after 10 years, that's 10 million something of them. What are you going to do with all these people if there's no opportunities for them? People should start thinking more about opportunities for people instead of blah, blah, about, oh, I believe this, I believe that. I don't care what anybody believes. If they have opportunity and they got brains, they can get somewhere. And in this case, the guy got himself in jail because he didn't have any opportunity, but he had brains. Gervado says, my family have vehicles that still run. I got an 02 6-speed Tiburon, 165K, an 03 FX35, 325,000 miles, and an 09 4-cylinder Toyota Camry, 150. What are your thoughts of as far as they can go? The Tiburon's at 165. It's probably reaching the end of its lifespan, but not worth that much. Take care of it. Who knows? If you don't beat it, it might last a while. The FX35 with 325 is definitely going to have problems at some point in time. If I'd get rid of anything, I would get rid of that one first. Because when that tranny goes out, and it will go out, it costs a fortune to fix. And they're notorious for the catalytic converters go out. There's 2 of them. They cost a fortune. That I get rid of. Now, the Camry has 150. I've seen them with 500. Take care of that. That's your most reliable car as time goes on. I can guarantee you that. Those are the most reliable. I've seen them with 500,000 or more, and they're still running strong. Jeremy says, Scotty, should I buy a 2023 Lexus ES or a 2023 Genesis G80? Well, I'd buy the Lexus because I like the Lexuses. They hold up a lot longer. The thing about the Genesis is that is their fancy line of cars. They used to be what? Hyundai Genesis. Now they're their own brand Genesis. It's the same car. They just changed the name, right? They're fun to drive, but they don't hold up. A couple years ago, where I compared them, and I had a Lexus that had 100,000 miles more than the Genesis. The Genesis had like 125 and the Lexus had like 235. The Lexus showed almost no wear on the 4 cams with my computer. The Genesis showed 15, 18, 19% wear on different cams, and it had 100-something thousand miles less than a Lexus. They're not made as well. Now, if you're the type of guy, you're going to drive your car 100,000 miles or less and you're happy, you'd probably buy either one. But if you keep them for a really, really long time, that's up to you. I had a guy bring me some Dodges the other day. He brought me Dodge Magnum, screaming V8 engine, right? And I said, I'm not a Dodge fan. He says, yeah, I watch your videos. I know you're not a Dodge fan. He said, but I'm a Dodge fan. I said, I've had 6 of them in a row. I said, okay, how long do you keep them? He said, well, I get rid of all of them when I get 30,000 miles on them. I said, well, what the heck? 30,000 miles is nothing. Depends on how far you're going to drive a car. If you're going to drive small mileage, you can buy whatever you want, practically. But if you're like me and you want the longest life, 200,000-300,000 miles out of a car, you won't get it out of the Genesis like you will in a Lexus. Mark of Theus says, 2001 Honda Accord Coupe. Hood liner's rotten and falling apart. Any harm in taking it out and just running without it? Sure. It'll be a little louder. You hear a little bit of noise, but it doesn't really serve any purpose. It's mainly to keep things quiet and keep paint from fading from the heat of the engine. When I was a kid, they didn't have things like that. They were just naked. And then they decided, well, it's a little quieter and it keeps the paint from fading, so they put them on. It isn't going to hurt anything at all. Some guys, if they're worried about paint and noise and stuff like that, they'll go to a hardware store and buy some insulation and they'll glue it in. That works just as good, It's a lot cheaper than buying expensive crap from the dealer, but it doesn't really serve any purpose. You could leave it off. Well, Tesla said it again. They're recalling 40,000 Teslas because the electric power steering assist doesn't work right. And of course, it's yet another one of Elon's cheap butt fix. It's a software update. You can't fix everything with the software update. That's the biggest trick that the car manufacturer have been doing for ages. Oh, it's just a software update. Chrysler's done that for years. Their trannies wouldn't shift right. And they said, oh, it's a software update. My customers would take their vehicle in, get it updated, and they said it's still just as crappy shift as it was before. They just try to cover their butts, fix it with something where they don't have to spend any money at all, just update the software, and voila, generally it's not fixed. So the lack of quality in Tesla goes on. If you want the total so far, in 2022, they have 17 recalls. That covers 3.4 million vehicles. That's like every vehicle they ever made, right? It just amazes me that people continue to buy these things. They have nothing but problems. They're extremely expensive. Who knows what will happen in the long run? Electric cars, yeah, they keep pushing them, but hey, are people going to buy them? Is there going to be infrastructure? Who really knows? But with a lack of quality like that, boy, Tesla's really opening the door for the other car manufacturers. Let's see how Volkswagen does with their ID.4. I just saw one the other day going down the road here in Rhode Island. Hey, maybe Volkswagen will fill the gap and make something with quality. Who knows? All I know is they keep recalling all their stuff, and then they always try to fix it with a software update. Who knows if it actually works or not? Just more lack of quality in Tesla. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.